But there's something I want to share with you as I get started. I'm a mom of 4. My first son is my bonus son. I met his dad when he was 3 years old, and now he's 29. Wow. Yep. And then I've got 3 other children, 24, 21, and my youngest daughter just clocked 18 last weekend, actually, exactly last weekend. And I'm going to share this story so that we all start to think beyond the normal things we think about in raising our children. So a lot of times, when it comes to parenting, we can tell you the skills. You must listen well. You must do this. You must do that. But there's something beyond those skills. Our upbringing matters a lot. Because the way we parent is from what we saw growing up. You see, you talked about self-limiting beliefs, belief, values. All these things, they all start from childhood. They all start from childhood. So what I always encourage parents and everyone around is that when you're learning these new things about beliefs, you're learning these new things about skills, about purpose, really be putting in your mind, how are you going to translate that for your children? Because we are a product of our childhood. Those words we heard, and I know there are many Africans in the house, you heard things like, you stupid person, you don't know anything. What is wrong with you? You are this. Look at your brother. Your brother is doing this and you are doing this. Look at that, your friend. Does he have 2 heads? We heard all these things growing up. Please, don't take them for granted. Don't imagine that they didn't play a role in the self-limiting beliefs you have today. And we don't say this to blame our parents. No. I'm a very big advocate for our parents. Our parents did what they did because that's what they knew. So this is not about blaming. This is about, Emeka called owning. You own it. Those self-limiting beliefs that you have today, get to the source of it. Because I can tell you, yes, listen. But if you were not listened to as a child, it's going to be very difficult for you to listen. You're going to have to go back. Okay, I wasn't listened to. How am I going to listen better? You've got to actually reparent yourself. You've got to reparent yourself. Let's talk about some changes, first of all, in parenting. What are some changes that you have noticed in parenting in the 21st century? Just let me know. Let's have a little bit of interaction. What are some changes? Yes? Exactly. Exactly. Kids are more expressive in today's world. And we're going to go to that because when kids are very expressive, because we weren't expressive, we react to that. How dare you talk to me like that? Who are you? But we need to allow them to be expressive. Because when our kids can be expressive, then they can speak up for themselves. I tell my kids, you guys be expressive, but please don't be rude. That's all. But let them be expressive, because if they're not expressive, they can't speak up. The world out there is very dangerous. And we're not fearful of the danger. We're going to parent our children in such a way that they can handle that danger. And that's why I'm a big advocate for, yes, help them with your education. But please, there are 3 things that I want you to consider. Not even consider, I want you to add into your priorities in parenting. Your children's emotional states, your children's mental states, and their social intelligence. And we're going to talk about that. Very important, apart from academics, because if I ask you guys about academics now, you guys are going to fire on, yes, I put my child in this school, I've done this, I've done that, my child is taking this exam, my child is taking that exam. We're all on fire for their education. And their education is so vital, but it's not enough. Their education is so vital, but it's not enough. Can I get my video? Is that okay, please? Their education is so vital, but it's not enough. My son that is 21 years old, he's in Harvard University at the moment. He got thank you. He got a full scholarship 2 years ago to study computer science, and he's also a hammer thrower. So he does the hammer throw. And I'm going to share something with you here. When he started in his secondary school, he used to do a lot of basketball, football, very, very good in his sports and everything. But then he went into playing hammer throw. I didn't know what hammer throw was. I used to say, is that discus? Is that javelin? I didn't know what it was. And we would need to go take him to this far place, take him to that place for all the competitions he was doing. But one of the things that I remember about my children in general from when they were kids is I said, these my children, they are going to succeed. And not just succeed academically, but succeed in life. So that was the goal. That was the purpose. And I translated that with every word that I used with my children. Every morning before they stepped out of the house, we had some affirmations we shared. At least every day we had affirmations. As they were stepping out of the house, I am capable. I'm having a good day today. With God, all things are possible. It was a continuous thing for my children from when they started talking. So this they kept on building in them. So that even when they were taking exams, if something is difficult, they'll say, I can do this. With God, all things are possible. I can do this. It's become the norm. So it's very, very key. And I tell you what this now leads to. When they affirm themselves, they build up themselves mentally. Because they're going to go through things. You're not going to be there 24/7. They're going to go through situations. We want them to have that habit of those affirmations. But let me tell you something about affirmations. There's no need to teach them affirmations, but then the next minute when they make a mistake, you say, it doesn't work that way. You've got to affirm them even when they make those mistakes. Okay, you made that mistake. I know you are different. My son Kenny, after I'm going to play his video. Actually, let's play his video, please. Yeah. I just want to show you this bit. Thank you. He's the number one hammer throw player in the whole of the United States. He's the number one. He's the number one. And he came from the UK. So I'm sharing this to show how things are possible when you believe and also when you're intentional. Kenny, the teachers in his school then, primary school to mid-secondary school, Mrs. Akeji, Kenny was distraction in the class. They used to report Kenny to me nearly every day. Nearly every day. I used to come, when Kenny comes home, I'll tell Kenny, I said, Kenny, the teacher doesn't know you. I said, this teacher, he doesn't know you. I said, I know you. The person that I see you to become, and I'm Nigerian now, so I will even dramatize it. Hey, these people, they're joking. They've not seen anything. I said, Kenny, they don't know you. Go to school and prove them wrong. Did I insult Kenny? No. Did I abuse him? No. I affirmed him. I said, go there and prove them wrong. I know who I carried. What are you talking about? Does she know you? Go prove her wrong. That's what I kept telling Kenny. Yes, he will. Sometimes he will remember. He will say, yes, I did well in school today. The next minute again, they will recall him again. But sometimes when you even think about what they're calling them for, petty things. Do you know that one day I was called about that Kenny was trying to pick up a pencil on the floor and he was distracting the class? I said, excuse me? You guys be very mindful. Be very, very mindful because sometimes the things that they say about your children are ridiculous. So don't believe the hype all the time. And don't be saying, your teacher called again. So who are you? Don't do that. Listen to them. Let them tell you what happened. Let them tell you what happened because sometimes the unfair treatments they get can be ridiculous. I've been a school governor as well, so I know this. Picking up the pencil, they said he was distracting the class. So I told the teacher, I said, excuse me, just demonstrate to me how he was distracting the class. Please. And I was very polite but very firm. I said, please demonstrate to me how Kenny was distracting the class by picking up a pencil that fell on the floor. I just mean because when she was picking it up, everybody else was doing that. I said, and so what? I said, be mindful. But I go back home and I affirm Kenny. Because what is happening with many of our children is that, yes, they're reporting them, they're this, they're that. We too, we come home, we add to the problem. And they go on saying, who believes me? Who is on my side? That's what they're asking. I coach teenagers as well. That's the same question. Nobody knows me. Nobody supports me. Nobody loves me. And they come from homes that their parents are doing very, very well work-wise. But the children are not feeling supported. So when you see kids misbehaving out there, there's more to it. There's more to it. So be very mindful of how we support our children. Affirm them, irrespective of the mistakes they're making. They're going to make mistakes. No child is perfect. Were we perfect when we were children? Please, anybody, show me perfection, please. Because I can't see any perfection. It didn't come exactly. So affirm them so that they know who they are. And then they decide, you know what, I'm going to succeed. Kenny going into Harvard, honestly, I can't take credit for it. Kenny applied. He wrote to coaches before he spoke to me. He wrote to coaches in many universities in America. Then they started calling because, of course, they want to speak to the parents. He also made sure he had this goal to keep on scoring because he was already winning here. So, of course, in the hammer throw league, they have the list of all his wins. So writing to Harvard is one thing, but having the backup with the things that you've earned is another thing. But if we were in the home where every minute we're shouting, we're abusing him, oh, you must do this, you must do that, you're yelling, where will he get the inspiration to do what he needs to do? So be very mindful. I'm a very big advocate. I always say, don't yell, don't yell. And some people say, oh, Phinnah, you're just saying it because you don't know. Why can we not yell? Don't yell at them so that they can build their resilience from the inside. It's not your yelling that is going to make them strong. It's your belief in them. It's your affirmation that's going to make them strong. They will then decide what they're going to do, and then you're there to support them. So he applied to universities, and I had to help. I had to believe in him as well, because I was thinking, we in the UK, what University Harvard, are they going to give scholarship? Because it's not as if, the money is, yeah. So I had to support him. Support him by believing in him. Support him by, during the exams, no house chores. I can do the house chores. I can do the house chores. What is washing dishes? They already know how to wash dishes. They're not going to get a certificate for washing dishes. They're not. They're not. So leave those. Don't think because they didn't do house chores today, then the world has ended. Nah. It's the exam period. Let them focus on the exams. I will cook. I will make sure that their environment is peaceful. They can learn from it. I will do the dishes. What's the big deal? Do you know what I mean? So there's some things that we just need to start to think more of in supporting our children. We have to think more. Their emotional well-being is so important. Because when we affirm them, when we speak life into them, guess what? We build up their emotional intelligence. That emotional intelligence is what is going to help them in those situations of unfairness. They won't jump and start fighting because they know how to regulate their emotions. Because things are going to come at them that will tempt them to fight. When they fight, then they get in trouble. I coach a lot of young people who are even in the youth justice system today. And it was out of anger they did something. Someone upset them. They retaliated. They got into trouble. So we've got to start in the homes to start teaching our children emotional intelligence. And that's by us as well as parents regulating our emotions. When you come to the house and all you're doing is shouting, hey, you didn't do this. Where's your emotional regulation? What's going on? Why are we acting like kids, but we're justifying it because our own parents shouted at us? So we think it's normal. It's not normal. It's not normal. I heard somebody say that when we yell at our children, we're tantruming like adults. We're adult tantrum. Because why do we need to shout? I can just tell you, okay, pick that thing up. Okay, yes, they may not pick it up the first time. You tell them to pick it up again. Repetition in parenting is not a weakness. When you have to repeat something over and over again, it's not a weakness. Keep speaking to them until they can hear you. Our children are not operating with their adult brain yet. Why do we expect them to be logical like us? Why? Their brain does not finish fully developing until they're 25, 26. Why are we expecting a 5-year-old to remember what we said yesterday? Why? Why? Huh? Or they forgot to do their homework, we start to yell at them. Why? They're not using their adult brain yet. Help them develop their adult brain by being patient with them, by talking to them, by hearing their own opinions. Even if we don't understand their opinions, even if we don't agree with their opinions, please allow them to speak. Because the more you shut them up, they will shut up and not talk to you again. And guess what? The internet is at their disposal. Social media is at their disposal. They will listen to someone. They've got to listen to somebody. If you're not there for them to listen to, They're going to listen to the outside world. And guess what? The outside world may not share your values. You can see that all over the place now. Our values, some of our values, we're thinking, what's going on? How can our values be the wrong values? Like some things that you're hearing now in the world today, you're thinking, what's going on? What is going on? There's so much going on. And our children are part of it. Our children are in this world. So we've got to make sure that our homes are havens for our children. So that they can come to you and say, Mom, guess what? Someone said this. Is it true? Then you can talk to them. But if you're not there to talk to them, if you're not there to listen to them, they're going to hear it from somebody else. They're going to believe it, and they're going to run with it. We have to be there to interrupt those conversations, those assumptions that they make. Children will tell me, my dad doesn't love me. My mom doesn't love me. And I tell them, okay, did your mom say that? No. Just the way she acts, the way she treats me. I hear that word a lot, the way they treat me. My heart breaks. I've heard some things. Sometimes on Zoom, I'm holding my tears when some people tell me what their parents have told them with their mouths. Good for nothing. Good for this. Good for that. You're no good. Who did you take after? A child that you prayed for? A child that when you gave birth to that child, you were thanking God for the miracle? And now that they're grown, you're using the same mouth that you praised God about to insult them? We need to watch ourselves. And I don't say this as any form of judgment, but I say this so that later on we can go back and self-reflect. Are there any things that we've told our children out of character, in anger? Anger is not a bad thing. It's what we say in that anger that's the problem. And if there's anything, you go and apologize. Even last Christmas, I was asking my kids, I said, is there anything I could have done better as a parent? I want them to tell me so that I can apologize and bridge that gap. Because what our children are doing, a lot of our children are walking around with unhealed wounds. Too much. Too much. I grew up, my dad, I was 5 years old and my dad took my mom to work in the UK. She was a nurse. And when she got to work, while she was working, you know how in ER, this ambulance comes in and then they run out, a team comes to pick up the person from the ambulance. So her team has come to respond to the ambulance. And she's coming through the corridor. The stretcher has come. She looks. Who is that? No, it can't be. The same man that just dropped me at work a few hours ago. What's he doing on the stretcher? He died that night. He died that night. 5 years old I was. She was so shocked. They didn't explain to any of us what happened. We did not talk about my dad for at least 10 years. And guess what? Because I didn't know what death was about, I said, this man has left us. He rejected us, he's left us. So I grew up with such a low self-confidence. I used to see people saying, my dad bought me this, my dad bought me that. I'd be like, if only I had a dad. If only I had a dad. Self-esteem, boom. People pleaser, number one, because I didn't want anybody else to leave me. I share this story because I'm not going to blame my mom now for not talking to me because she was still in shock about what happened. But there's a part where we don't talk to our children about things. And because we don't talk to our children about things, they make assumptions. I made the assumption. If someone was there while I was growing up to tell me he died, it was something that was uncontrollable, he loved you, he still loves you, I wouldn't have grown up with so many assumptions. Our children today make so many assumptions. They don't like me because I'm the darker one in the family. No one told them that. They just assumed that. But nobody has corrected them for that. No one has come back to say, we love you, no matter what you look like. Did you see what I mean? So sometimes there are unspoken words that have not been said. Our children have made assumptions. They don't listen to me. They always don't listen to me. And that's what they take. And because they think you don't always listen to them, they're faster to listen to other people. Because, at home, I'm not listened to. So there are many gaps that we need to fill in. The emotional gap of listening to them. When your child comes to you to tell you something, listen. If they say, my friend said this to me, and I'm so sad, I'm so whatever. Don't say, what's that? It's no big deal. It may not be a big deal to you, but it's a big deal to them. Validate their feelings. Say, you know what? I hear you. I know that can be painful. But you will get through this. Make sure you validate them. Because when you don't validate them, you dismiss them. And so that feeling, they just think, okay, no one's there to care for me. And they go on. There's so many influences out there now. Validate them so that you build up their emotional intelligence. Get them to do things. Praise them for what they're doing. When they make mistakes, talk to them about the mistakes. We're not telling parents not to correct our children. No way. Please correct your children. Continue to correct them. But it's the how you correct them that is the key. It's the how. Don't criticize them. Correct them with love. Give them a chance. You know what I do when I correct my children? I don't correct my children in front of each other. I go to their rooms and correct them individually. Because for me, they now reflect on what I've corrected them for. When you correct children in front of each other, they feel, okay, oh, that person, how is that person thinking of the correction? So they're more conscious of the other people looking at them than the correction you're making. Yeah. So go privately to them. You know, this thing that you did that day, I didn't really like it. This is why I didn't like it. This is what you need to do differently. Give them what to do differently. You know, many times we don't. We just correct. You didn't do this. Oh, you should have done this. How can you do this? And then we stop. But we don't give them the alternatives. Speak to them privately. Give them the alternative. Tell them what to do next time. And then you move on. So that they can then reflect. We want our children to reflect, because when our children learn how to reflect, then guess what happens? When they're in school and there's a peer pressure, somebody tells them, oh, let's go do this, let's go do that. They'll pause. Oh, what's that? Is that good? Is that not good? Is that, they will have time to reflect. But if they don't learn how to reflect at home, they're not going to reflect in school. They're not going to reflect outside. Many of the problems, many of the children that are in prison today, they did something because their friend said, let's do it. And they didn't have that time to pause. And that is why, again, one more thing I'm going to say here is that even when you tell your child to do something, if they don't do it immediately, don't get angry at your children. I know that's going to rub off some bones because we're not used to that. But let me tell you the reason. Sometimes they tell you, oh, Mom, I want to do something first. Can I finish what I'm doing? Even if that thing is a game, whatever it is, allow them. And I'll tell you why. When you allow your children to, and it's going to be, because people might think, oh, but that means they're getting away with stuff. No. Let me tell you the goal that you're getting to at the end. You want them to learn how to pause. You see, this immediate obedience, immediate compliance, it's not a good thing. Don't believe the hype. We grew up with, as soon as they tell you something, go and do it. But now I'm not telling you when you tell them something, let them just lazy around. If there's a reason why, let's say, for example, they're on their phone. They're in the middle of playing a game, especially for teenagers. They're in the middle of playing a game. You tell them, go and do this. First of all, that game that they're into, they need to get to the end of that game. Because there's something they're trying to win in that game. Yeah, there's something. And I know you might think it's irrelevant, but I'll tell you where we're going. There's something they want to get to. And when we tell them there and then, get up, go and get me the remote control, or go get me this. Then they don't, because they're so much into that game that their child brain that wants rewards of a win is more important than that thing you're trying to tell them to do. So they're not being disobedient to you. They're just operating with their childlike mind. Okay? So what you should do instead is, okay, when is that game you're playing now, when is it over? And then you tell them, okay, do this thing when it's over. And I'll give you the reason why. You see that immediate compliance that they're complying with you with. They get it into a habit. There's going to be dominating friends outside there that are going to tell them, hey, let's go and do what. They will not have time to pause. They will not have time to pause because they're used to immediate obedience. They won't have time to pause. It's happened to too many young people. Too many young people. They didn't have the minutes to pause because they're not even given that minute to pause at home. So give them that time to pause. Give them that time to learn, to question. Even when they tell you, Mom, why? Answer the question of why. It's all good to answer the question of why. So that when they go out there, they can also ask the why questions. And the more they ask the why questions, the more they have the time to decide, should I do this? Should I not do this? Immediate obedience is not the key. They will obey you. Obedience does not matter. It depends on the time. If they're saying they're not going to do it, what you tell them to do, that's a whole different thing. That is plain disobedience. We need to correct that. But give them that time, especially when they're doing stuff. Now, if they're not doing anything, that's different. But if they're in the middle of doing something, Give them that opportunity. Give them that opportunity. Actually, for even older teenagers, you can ask them, when are you going to do it? Give them, let them, so that time management is something they can practice as well. They learn time management. When you give them the option of what time are you going to do it, as long as you do it before 6, I'm good. So let them then decide in between that time and 6 o'clock when to do it. We are doing all these at home to teach them how to operate in the outside world, because we're not going to be with them 24/7. And that is the key. Many of our children are getting into trouble. Many of our children. Social services are on the doors of many families. It doesn't need to be so. For many parents that have come into the country newly, there are many things that we do as parenting in Africa that does not work here. Actually, it doesn't work in Africa too. It's just that because sometimes rules don't just work. Do you know what I mean? But it doesn't work for the self-esteem of your child, for the confidence of your child. Even, let me tell you something that's happening in today's world. Many children, young adults, as soon as they enter university, they're leaving the church. They're leaving the church. And people think they're leaving the church because of influence in university. It's not true. They already planned it right from home. Because we're doing church, but yet we're not treating them well. I remember a child told me the other time, they had finished fasting as a family. Yeah? And the dad, this child is in Nigeria, they finished fasting as a family. After praying or so, then the dad said, something, he didn't wash the car. He didn't do something. There's something he didn't do. The father punished him there and then with his game, took the game from him for over a month. And they had just finished fasting. I said, wait, how? Where can you guys not put these two things together? Our children, their fate depends on your behavior at home. You can't be doing, in Jesus' name, Father, I rebuke, I pray. Then you're now being mean to your children. It does not work. They'll be looking at you, smiling, follow you to church. By the time they get to university, are you going to force them to go to church? It won't force them. But how? I pray this is none of our stories. Because how sad will it be that is the parent that made the child lose their faith? How sad will that be? They tell me, Auntie, what's the point? What's the point? Just because we've not learned how to emotionally regulate ourselves. And that's why we need to go back to the beginnings. We need to go back to our childhood and repair. I had to look back at my childhood. I found the gaps that caused me to be people-pleasing, that caused me to have that low self-esteem. Because if we don't heal from that, we're going to project that on our children. We're going to be overprotective. We're going to be, oh no, don't do this, don't do that, because we're trying to protect our inner child. So my homework for all of us today is go and look back to your childhood, to your upbringing. What makes you so angry? Why is it that when your child does something, you get so angry? You get very reactive. Why is that? Go back to your childhood and repair. Speak to someone. Get coach, go therapy. You've got to heal to be able to give your child the best things they have. So that when they do something, you're less reactive. You're more responsive. When you have that peace of mind and you parent with peace, that's when your children will go out there and do beyond your thinking. Because honestly, I wasn't thinking of Harvard. There's no way Harvard came in my mind. But your children will even go beyond your thoughts. Because you gave them a home that was peaceful enough for them to see and recognize themselves. When the home is chaotic, they can't see themselves. Because all they're doing is they're defending themselves. Everybody's protecting. Oh, is mom at home? Oh, is dad home? Let me run to my room. That's the chaos sometimes in the home. So be mindful. Even when you're tempted to have those arguments with your partner, zip. Because you might think, oh yeah, you and your partner, we're just quarreling. No. The children are being affected. That's one thing my son told me. He said, Mom, I wish you didn't reply. I wish you didn't reply when dad did. I couldn't start telling him, oh, I replied because this and that, because I'd been keeping quiet for so long, so I decided to reply. No, I couldn't do that, no, because that's invalidating his feeling. I had to say, I am sorry. I am so sorry. I apologized. I said, I am so sorry. Because these are the things that forms their childhood. When they remember those times, it forms up the decisions they make. Some children are telling me today, Auntie, I'm not gonna get married. If this is what marriage is all about, I'm not marrying. And they mean it. They mean it. So be very mindful of the home you're creating. Be very mindful of the energy you're creating in the home. You have a part to play. Yes, you may not be able to control what your partner is doing, but please control what you are doing. And the more you control what you are doing, the more you and your partner will be on the same team. Have patience with your partners. Because many people tell me, oh, we're learning all these things, but my partner is not here to learn it. It's okay. You keep learning and you keep implementing. Your child is benefiting for it. Please, don't give up. Your children mean a lot to you. You have a lot to play in the lives of your children. I see the children playing and I'm looking at them. I'm seeing a bright future. I tell these kids when I see them, I say, you know what, guys? I'm just looking forward to when I'm going to walk into the White House or when I'm going to walk into number 10 Downing Street, when I'm going to see all of you in positions. That's what I tell young people. I want to be that auntie that when I walk in, they'll say, yeah, this is my auntie. And I'll say, yeah, I told you, remember? That's what we want. These are the kind of things to lighten your children with. Tell your children, I see you. Your children come into the room, smile. You make me so proud. I had a long day, but now seeing you, I'm happy. Just throw those kind of seeds in the lives of your children's ears. It builds them up. It builds their confidence. It builds their self-esteem. Someone needs me. Someone loves me. So that when they go out there and face the world, they know they've come from somewhere. They know that they've come from somewhere. So please, as I kind of wrap this up, I want to share 2 quotes before I wrap up. The first quote is, and this is Alvin Toffler that shared this quote and said, the illiterates of the 21st century, they won't be those who cannot read or write. You know, back in the days, when people can't read or write, we call them illiterates. Alvin Toffler is saying that the illiterates of the 21st century is not going to be those who cannot read or write. It's going to be those who are willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Every day in our lives, we're in that cycle of learning, unlearning, and relearning. As we leave today, what are the things that you've learned? What are the things that in your mind you're thinking, you know what, I could do this better? What are the things in your mind that you think, you know what, I need to unlearn this. This is not a great habit. What is my child benefiting from this thing I'm doing? Write it down. Do yourself and your family a favor. The world we're in is no longer the world that we used to live in. Children today are talking about their childhood. Let the childhood that your child talks about be a good childhood. We have the resources. We have the help. We have social media. We have great parenting experts like myself that you can follow and hear from us. I'm not saying I'm perfect because I still learn every day. But it's better to be in a community where you keep on reminding yourself of what to do better. You grow, you learn. There's no need of us learning all these things that we've learned today. Finance, all this stuff. And yet, the family is not wrong, right? What's the point? Who's going to be with you in the older age? It's your children. So treat them right. They remember. Don't think they don't remember. They remember. We can do better. And let's do better even for our forefathers. Because our forefathers in their graves now are saying, this world that my children are in is changed though. Children, please, change with them. Change. Don't go and be saying, oh, but my forefather, we shouted and we all turned out okay. No, you didn't. You didn't turn out okay by them yelling at you. You didn't turn out. And I say this quote, I say, if you think you turned out well, okay, let's make our children turn out even better than okay. Do you know what I mean? Let's make our children turn out better than okay. No matter where they are, they're in this country, they will succeed. They're in Nigeria, they will succeed. Wherever they are, our children are born to succeed. I tell my children, success is in your DNA, so there's no contemplating about it. Speak life into your children. Speak life into your children. And the last quote I want to share is, you don't have to be great to get started. This life in parenting, you don't have to be great to get it started, but you must get it started to be great. So let's start today. Let's start to build up on a lot of things that we've learned and we've heard. Our children deserve it. And you, as well. You deserve it too. You want to wake up in the morning and say, wow, thank you, Lord. I'm grateful. You want to go out there, help the women that you help the businesses you help, but know that in the back of your mind, your children are also doing great. That's what the total wholesome success is all about. We're talking about holistic. That's what it's all about. So I know that with these few words of mine, I hope I've been able to convince you. I'm not convinced. But thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's a comment and a question. So on the basis of parenting in Nigeria, it's a bit different from what we see here. So I'll use my own. Something happened. My older son had the best results in Yoruba. Now, let me explain. We are from the East, yes. But we were born in Lagos. Yes. And so I'm married to an African man, an Igbo man. And so his older son, Diokbala, gets the best result in Yoruba and then the best in football. Then his brother has the best in 7 subjects. And when they announced, and he was beaming and came and presented, and I just whispered, Yoruba kwa. And I said, the people that got your brother, does he have 2 heads? And I think the boy just looked at me like, Mommy, Yoruba is difficult too. Yes. So you see, so when you were saying, I think in my mind, it appeared it was funny to me, but I'm not sure if I did that excellent parenting at that, because I'm sure the boy will always remember that his brother does not have 2 heads and all that. So I think we can always do better and all that. And another thing that we do in Nigeria is say, Mommy, where do I keep the cup? I've said it 3 times and I'm like, put it on my head. And I think the first time the boy was about to put it on my head. Yes, but now when I say put it on my head, they say, I don't think so. So that's Nigeria. But then my question is, when you were saying with your partner or spouse or whatever, and there's a little conversation going on, and you feel the need to release that final blessing, and then you look at your children. Sometimes you need to just release it and then explain to them, I hope you understand why I told your dad. So when you are caught up in that, how do you...
We need
because
to.
You're not rude.
Yes.
But sometimes you just need to say it and then look at them when he steps out to say, you know why? Or you say, in this aspect, don't be like him. So how do you... because sometimes you don't release it and you forget.
I know.
So how do you handle that?
Great question. Thank you so much. Great question.
Intercontinental ballistic missile.
Great question. You know the thing that we need to remember here. Ourselves and our partners, our children have both of us in them. And if you look at it, yes, you're not related to your partner, but your child is related to your partner. So the way you talk to your partner, your child is taking a bit of that. You might think you're doing yourself a favor to release, but as you're releasing, but as you're releasing, your children are taking a brunt of it. Your children are caught in the middle of, who do I support? Who do I support? Who do I support? So that strenuous thing of who do I support affects them. So even when we're saying, don't be like your father, your child knows that their father is in them. So you're saying, don't be me? Did you see what I mean? So it's deep. It's very deep. Be mindful. Even if you don't like what your partner has done, go later on to your partner and talk about it. I say this because a lot of times we go back, we in front of the children, we attack, but later on we go back and we make up. Our children are not there when we're making up. And all of a sudden, in the morning, they see all of us laughing and smiling. And they're thinking, what happened here? So we didn't explain to them the makeup, but we explained to them why we needed to release. Did you see where I'm coming from? So And we're not saying that we're protecting and hiding the arguments from our children. That's not the case. As they grow older, they get it. But at that young age where there's no explanation, it doesn't do them any favors. And that's why we need to learn that emotional intelligence, that being able to regulate our emotions. And this is something we need to learn because we didn't see that growing up. Even if we had it growing up in our homes, in schools and in stuff, we didn't see it. So there's a lot of learning that we need to go back to do and say, okay, let's do that. Please, I want you to, your son that did very well in Yoruba, that's amazing. I tell you why. I tell this to young people, because young people tell me, oh, Auntie, what's the point of doing geography? I'm not going to use geography in the future. I tell them, yes, you're not going to use geography in the future, but guess what? The skill you're using to learn it is lifetime skill. It's a lifetime skill. He was able to learn a difficult language. He's a problem solver. He's going to excel in many things. So prop him for that. Praise him for that. Please, give him a high five for that. Tell him how proud you are for that. Because he's going to take that same skill he used and resilience he used in learning that Yoruba. He's going to use it in other areas. So praise him for that, because if we knock him down for that, when he comes to another challenge, oh, what's the point of this? What's the point? So that's great that he can do that. And let's not compare. Because yes, a child will be academic. Kenny is very academic. Tamara, his sister, is not too academic. But she has her own strengths. But don't compare them, because everybody has their own journey. They came out from your womb, so they're already successful already. Do you see what I mean? They're already a success. Just praise them for it. Encourage them with where their skills are. And let them grow, because they are meant to grow. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Yes.
I wanted to say thank you so much for this session, and thank you, Shirley, for inviting Fee over, because for me it's been very impactful. It's been impactful for me because I think I have assumed that my kids know that I love them, and I don't know that I have actually verbally expressed it. And today I think I'm going to go back and verbally express it, because I think I'm expecting them to know with a child's brain that all the things I'm doing for them, it should be manifest to them. And I think I see the folly in that now, thinking that they should be mentally mature to understand my actions. So thank you very much for that. I wanted to ask, because listening to you, there are so many things I'm thinking, oh my goodness. There's some work to be done here. And I'm wondering, I would like to, do you have tools that I can continuously use? Because I think this is a work in progress, and I would like to spend more time developing that. So I was wondering what else can I do, or where else can I go so I can keep those going.
Keep the things going.
Yes.
No, I mean, I always encourage parents to join communities, follow people that speak, encourage, and just follow that, so that it's because what we need as a society is those continuous reminders. That's really what we need. Because in the morning, if you go out on social media and you see one clip of me saying, have you yelled at your children today? Some people will tell me, oh, Phinnah, your post was too late. I've already yelled at my child. That kind of stuff. So it's those kind of things that will help. But I tell you something, a lot of the things that you're learning here, apply them in your parenting. Honestly, when you think about your purpose, when you think about your life, you apply those principles. Coach Eden has just talked about that affirmation, that, flipping the comments around. Our words are the biggest powers that we have, our biggest influences with our children. So if you do that, and then we can talk a bit later, but again, it's just those continuous reminders that we all need. Even when my daughter is speaking to me today, I'm thinking in my head, okay, Phinnah, active listening. So what were you saying? Okay, I hear you. I make sure I always say those kind of things like, oh, I hear you, because I've been talking about validation. I might as well validate my own daughter too. So it's all a learning process for all of us, a work in progress for all of us. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I've got 2 questions and 2 comments. My first question is around kids that are very expressive. How do you draw the line between a child that is expressive and a child that is being cheeky? Okay. And the second one is you've got one that is very academic, very academic, and you've got one that is creative. Yes. But the creative one is just putting pressure on herself, on their self, because they feel, oh, that one, okay, it's going for another competition again. But you're not participating in that competition. What's your problem? What did you get? Do you know that it's just that pressure? How do you manage situations like that? And you as a parent, you are aware that you've got the skill and you can use it for something massive. So we can't all be the same. That's why we're in this world. Another thing I was going to say about comment was about regulating. So my kids, when you speak to them and you're, oh, there's a tendency for one of them to go into the toilet and say, I need to use the toilet. Mm-hmm. But we've now come to realize that that's that child regulating. Yes. It goes into that toilet to regulate. Then previous will go, I'm speaking to you and now you're in the toilet for how long? But now that you're mentioning that regulation, I'm thinking that's their own way of, I'm taking myself out of that situation and go and do that. Last thing, check-ins. So I found out that check-ins is best done when I'm picking them separately. Yes. Because there's one that's quite talkative. So the moment you pick that one from school, everything that happened from lunch to everything talks. And the other one, what happened at school? It's all right. However, if you pick that one first, what's happened today? What's interesting? What happened? Did Mr. Blah Blah come? Oh, yeah, and has the opportunity to talk. So it's always quite good to have that balance. Well, it's just an expressive child and being cheeky. And when you have kids that put pressure on themselves unduly.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Your first question, when we say they're being cheeky, is that an assumption we're making? Or did they tell you that they're being cheeky? Because we make a lot of assumptions. We say, yes, they're just being cheeky. But that's just probably their personality. As long as they're not being rude and insulting in that cheekiness, there's nothing wrong with it. Because that's probably one of their strengths that they have. And that's probably one of the strengths. We didn't talk, it's a short talk. We didn't talk a lot about the social intelligence. That cheekiness is what's going to get them through the doors. Now it's no more about, oh, they got A stars, they got level 9s. Yes, those are great. But they now need to be able to talk. They need to be able to come into a meeting and say, yes, sir, thank you so much, ma'am. Yeah, I love your hair. We might think it's cheeky, but that's going to serve them in those kind of environments. So what do we term as cheeky? We need to check that in with ourselves because that's what's going to help us. They need to have those social skills. We don't want our children. They say sometimes our children, when you talk to them, they're looking down. They're looking sideways. They're not looking at our eyes because we taught them, don't look at me when I'm talking to you. They've got to look. They're going to go in the public. They've got to look. You've got to be able to look at somebody that's interviewing you and say, yes, thank you so much for having me. I look forward to hearing back from you. You want them to look in the eyes. But if we're teaching them, how dare you look at me? How dare you do that? How are they going to learn it? So those are social skills. It's going to be a strength for your child in that situation. The other bit you asked me was the balance between the creative and the academic. Praise the creative and the academic together. I love your skills. I love how creative you are. I love how academic you are. Together, so they can hear it. You're not comparing them. You've praised both of them. I love you guys. You guys, we make a great team. So that the creative one knows that they have a space and the academic one knows that they have a space. Very important because a lot of times we've been brought up to praise the academic one more. So we praise the academic one more, the creative starts to feel left out. Sibling rivalry starts to happen without us realizing it because we've taken the academic person so high. But I tell you something, the academic person needs social skills. The academic person needs emotional skills. The academic person needs mental skills. A lot of times they don't because we focus so much on academics, we've left those 3 skills out. And when they don't get it right in academics, they break down. Nothing to lift them up because we focused only on academics. So please, let's make sure we have the balance. Very important. Thank you. Yes, please.
Let's not let the children think that they are a part of the family that doesn't count. They have to be as invested in that family as you, the parent, are. The responsibility of the success of that family does not only rely on you, the parent. And how do you make this happen? Okay, in our home, our children know this. When we have visitors, right, the normal thing is, this guy is coming from a place to see us. We start cleaning the whole house. We put dishes on the table. We clean everything. They know. When they have a friend coming in, we all start cleaning. We all start putting these dishes on the table just to make sure that your friend is important, my friend is important. You know, sometimes we take breakfast to them in bed just to let you know that the same way you can serve me, I can also serve you. So it's very important that you let them be invested in your family. They see the family unit as, this is our family, and we succeed together. So you don't go on trips. There's some families where it's only the dad that knows where America is. The children they only receive postcards or the things that they come with. When you know that there are 4 of us, you plan whatever trip, if it is just to go to the next state, let everybody be part of it. So the experiences are together. So when you tell your kids, oh, we need this job, they know the benefits that's going to come with getting the jobs because they're invested in the family, and they see it as part, this is our thing. And this trains them in the workplace because the first establishment they are introduced to is your home. When they are passive members of that family, and they're told what to do, you give them everything, it becomes strange to them when they get out. And then you expect them to take initiative and take decisions, So that's all I wanted to add.
Thank you so much. Yeah. There was one more. Yes? Yeah.
So my question is centered around your pause when you said if a child is playing a game and you need their attention, that you should give them time. I am trying to, it's really very challenging for me. I have a 14-year-old child and 13-year-old, and just creating that balance between them playing their game and then getting their attention to do the right thing.
Yes.
So you talked about we giving them time, but I know that their game timing is endless. So if you want to give them time to finish, that means you won't get their attention.
Okay.
So how do we create that balance?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So very, very valid question. The thing is, have we set boundaries in the first place? That's the first question. Have we set boundaries that in the home we are going to be on the internet for so hours a day? Have we set boundaries? Because if we set boundaries, then that's key for everything else. And what I encourage, 13, 14, this is the critical time to get them involved in the boundary setting. Call a family meeting. Let's decide as a family, what is the limits in the internet time? Because you don't want to have your children saying, you don't want to do your children say, no internet all day, all this week, no internet. Oh, no. Don't get into that, because in school, they're going to go on the internet. They're going to go on the internet with their children's phone. So at home, establish a time. And with teenagers, we talk about collaborative agreements. Let's all agree on it together. Of course, when I did this with my children, they said, when I said, okay, what's the limit? 12 midnight. We all laughed. Because, they would say 12 midnight or never. We laughed. Let's bring it down. We start to negotiate. They say, Mom, what about 11:30? No, 11:30 is still too late. What about 10:30? What about? So negotiate with your kids. Set a boundary. Set a time. Because what's happening is that we don't have times. And so they're just going with the flow. But when we set boundaries, then they're able to follow those boundaries. And because it's been agreed with all of us, they're more able to follow those boundaries. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be perfect in it, but you can then call them back and say, okay, what did we agree on? We agreed at so time, this is going to be ended, and if it's not ended, these are the consequences.